met a very loving St. Paul couple in Hawaii, March 15th and 16th, 2013. As a longtime community volunteer, I know that our efforts are not always appreciated. In fact, sometimes the most difficult aspect of being a volunteer is the criticism that may be directed at you for things you are not able to do or something you may have forgotten to do. At the beginning of March, I was reflecting on the wonderful job done by the organizing committee of the St. Paul Hats for Healing Pink Heart campaign and wanted to do something to recognize their efforts. On one of my nightly walks in the dark, I spoke out loud to the spirit of Megan Myslicki, who died as a result of the accident at Reset School on October 25th. I asked Megan's spirit for guidance as to what I should do to honor the committee members. I then opened my heart and mind, and the ideas started flooding in. As I received these ideas, I would work on it, and occasionally Megan's spirit would give me a bit of a nudge in one way or another to keep me on track. For example, I was going to ship the appreciation gifts to St. Paul to be handed out by the chairperson. But Megan would not have this. I was to go to St. Paul and deliver the items in person. Okay, that meant I would have to find a local host to help out. I contacted a friend in St. Paul, and she quickly agreed to help in any way she and her hubby could. In fact, she had planned on asking for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday off work to have a bit of a break. And when she made the request, something told her to change the request to Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. It was after that I contacted Cheryl Myslicki, my adopted sister, and requested her assistance with hosting the appreciation gathering on Friday. Perfect. I contacted my good friend Les Hallowell and asked for his help in doing some engraving. Within a couple of hours, Les called and told me he had a break because another customer couldn't decide exactly what she wanted done, and that he could do the engraving that very afternoon. Perfect. Virtually everything that we needed had a way of revealing itself at the right time. Everything was falling into place, as though it had already been planned ahead of time. Cheryl contacted key people in St. Paul for some of the items we would need locally, and we got more help. Perfect. At my request, Cheryl invited the guests, but did not reveal exactly what would be taking place. She simply told them that John wants to meet them. Some of this was to remain somewhat of a mystery. For logistical reasons, we ended up changing the date to Saturday, knowing that whatever date we picked, we could not expect everyone to be there, as this was all happening on fairly short notice. I was unable to get some items that we really wanted in preparation, so I posted a request on Facebook, and one of my Facebook friends had the items we needed. Perfect. In the meantime, on March 11th, this post appeared on my page from Chanda Hauk Jeanette. Met a very loving St. Paul couple in Hawaii on holidays. Your warmth was celebrated, XO. A heartwarming post. I certainly have a lot of wonderful Facebook friends. I wonder who this could have been, but I am so busy making preparations that I do not have time to contact Chanda. Oh well, next time I see her, I'll ask. All of this preparation is taking a little more time than I planned for, but for some reason the phone stops ringing and I have no jobs to do on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Perfect. Thanks, Megan. We get a dumping of snow on Thursday, so I use some of my free time to snowplow the driveway and yard and show Marg how to use the snowplow in case the snow continues while I'm gone to St. Paul. Thursday night, more snow, so I spend 2 hours doing a thorough job of plowing the driveway and yard, but that puts me a little late leaving. That's probably a good thing, since the highways did get somewhat icy, and by the time I get to the highway, it's in pretty fair condition. As I go through the city, there are several lineups at each overpass, as big trucks are having traction problems taking off after having stopped on uphill grades on the overpasses. Maybe it is a blessing that I have been delayed, avoiding a possible collision with my pickup. Thanks for the delay, Megan. When I do get to St. Paul in the afternoon, I picked up the items Cheryl has ordered locally and dropped them off at her place, along with all of the other items I have brought for our do on Saturday. Then it's off to Ardmore to spend overnight with my sister Louise and her hubby Dawn. On Saturday morning, I have a cup of tea at Tim's with my friend Lori, then head on to St. Paul to have my first visit with committee member Norm Noel, who can't come tonight because he is volunteering as a DJ at a local function. We have a great chat about all the exciting things the committee has accomplished, and I present Norm with his appreciation gifts. Next, it's on to Thomas and Sherry Wolitzky's home to do some visiting with Megan's mom and dad, Grandma and Grandpa, and Auntie Crystal. This is my first face-to-face meeting with Grandma and Grandpa, but it's not the first time I've chatted with Grandma Eileen. You see, it was back on November 11th, after getting a couple of messages from Thomas, that I phoned Eileen and sang her happy birthday. We share a lot of stories over cake and coffee during the next 3 hours, and I really do feel like a family member. 2 stories do stand out, however, and I would like to share these with you. Eileen looks at me and says something to the effect that Crystal's wedding cake was made with tears. This comment catches me off guard, but then we slowly sort out the details. You see, Crystal's wedding cake was made by my sister, Louise, and I believe her wedding was on September 20th, 2008. Why would I even know that date? Well, it was on September 13th, 2008, that Louise and Dawn's second son took his maiden flight on an ultralight aircraft that he'd just purchased a couple of weeks previous. Ashley had trained on and was very proficient and licensed to fly a fixed-wing aircraft. Unfortunately, the ultralight crashed and took Ashley's life. Louise had made a commitment to make Crystal's wedding cake, and it was completed during the week that Louise and Dawn were grieving the loss of their son. When the cake was picked up for Crystal's wedding, it came from a cool refrigerator into a warm vehicle, and so it formed tiny droplets of condensation on the icing, which gave the appearance of tears, as though the cake was shedding tears along with its creator, Louise. Since I stayed with Dawn and Louise the full week leading up to Ashley's funeral, it is highly likely that I may have met Crystal or a member of her family, approximately 4 years before tragedy struck the Wolitzky family. At one point in the afternoon, Sherry looks at me and says something to this effect. When we were in Hawaii, we met a friend of yours. I think her name was Shanda. The very loving St. Paul couple who Shanda had referred to back on March 11th were Thomas and Sherry. My friends, there is no such thing as coincidence. Just before leaving, I present Crystal's baby daughter with a gift of a wooden play table and chairs from my dear friend Margaret Clark, who had used this play set when she was a little girl. Crystal will be telling Affy that this table is where she can share her pretend cups of tea with Megan. You see, Megan and Affy had a very close connection and affection for each other. So I head out to Ken and Cheryl's for supper, and soon our guests are arriving. Brandy, Pamela, Lisa, Renee, and Leah. Normand is working as a DJ, and Helen is in Mexico. The ladies appear somewhat surprised to see so much pink in the living room and kitchen. Once they are all seated, I tell them that I wanted to make sure they are recognized for all the wonderful work they have done in fundraising money for the 3 families. Too often we neglect to celebrate and acknowledge volunteers for the great work they do, and this night was dedicated to them. After a short speech, during which a few tears were shed, they each received a large decorated bag for keeping their gifts. Each bag had the colored imprint of the 3 young girls on the outside. Inside was a motivation calendar for 2013, a pack of my various pens, and a notebook smothered with pink hearts on the cover. Then each received a pack of pink mints. Next, each one received a red-handled, dark pink survival multi-tool. Brandy and Pamela then received a large heavy-duty orange, off-pink flashlight with multiple bulbs in recognition for the light they provided for everyone else to follow, leading the residents of St. Paul out of a very dark time. Brandy also received a special multi-tool in recognition for going out every night for a month after the accident to light the vigil candles and for organizing the 30-member honor guard to escort Megan's casket to the cemetery. Of course, we couldn't have a celebration without having a toast, so each lady received pink paper cups, but these were not suitable for drinking, so then I presented each lady with a set of 4 wine goblets, each engraved with Hats for Healing on the top line, 3 hearts on the second line, with 2012 in the bottom of the 3 hearts, and finally St. Paul on the bottom line. All these glasses were engraved by my good friend Les Hallowell. Finally, we topped this off with a few bottles of ice-cold, from the snowbank, pink champagne. Of course, we had to fill the glasses with enough pink champagne so that the 3 hearts appeared to be pink, if somewhat a darker shade. And so we toasted the very fine work of the committee. Once the formalities are done, Cheryl invited the ladies to the kitchen to load up on snacks, and then the chatting begins. You see, these ladies have not met as a group since the auction officially ended, as it was close to Christmas, and everyone has been too busy to get together. We hear many stories of things that went well, and some where the ladies had to fly by the seat of their pants to get this all done. There is much laughter, and my heart is very warm as I listen to all these wonderful stories.